If you've been following any of my previous clips, you'll notice I've done one called how to create a prison break. One of the subscribers, Matthew, pointed out to me a better way of using the replay tool. So what I'm going to do here is I wanted to correct that and show you the correct way to use the replay tool, and it's a lot better than the method that I showed you in that clip. So hopefully this will put things right. What I'm going to do is create a bridge across this chasm so Elsa can get to her castle. And like my previous one, we used the force. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to get her to do some magic. She'll wave a magic wand and a bridge will appear. So I need some tools. So we go to the creativity toy menu. The 3 one I want is the replayer tool. Like I say, in this one I'm going to actually show you a much better way of using it than the way I did by creating all the buttons, which is quite a clumsy way. I didn't know this existed until pointed out by Matthew, so thank you much for pointing that out. Where is it? So where's my replayer? There it is, there's my replayer 1. So I bring that across, I want my replayer tool. The next one I'm going to use, which I haven't used before, is the dynamic trigger. So I'll show you how to use that for the first time. And the context assign button, I believe it is. Did I get that right? Where is it? And the context button assigner, that's it. Right, now the difference here is, oh yeah, I need one more clip as well, sorry. I need a locator, because I need this, that when you go to here you can cast your spell or do your magic option within this clip. Now some of you will be aware of this, but as I wasn't aware, I didn't know this option existed, so let's put my locator here, and I'll stick the locator about here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my replayer tool and show you how these little functions work on the screen. So if I take my wand back on and now walk over to my replayer, when I walk over to the area, you'll notice that when I stand on it, I will have my 4 controls appear. So my record, my play, now all appear on the screen. Take a few seconds to appear, and that X at the bottom allows me to record. So if I press X now, you'll see that I'm now actually recording. Anything I do is now being recorded on the controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of my custom filters, because I can never quite find it once I've purchased these items, but there was a bridge that I unlocked, which I quite like, which is from Big Hero 6, I think it is. So I'm just going to put this bridge across, and you'll notice when I created the island I made sure that there was an equal distance apart, so hopefully you should see this should fit in absolutely perfect all the way across the screen. Yep, so there's my bridge. Now whereas before I had to do my button, I don't have to do it now, so if I let go of my wand, come back, if I turn back and walk back onto my thing and press the X button, I've now stopped that option. Now if I press the circle button, it will rewind it back, so it will clear the items out. And if I press the square button, it should play it all back again. That's a lot better method than I was showing you in my prison break clip, so I hope you appreciate this is a lot easier to use. So what I'm now going to focus on now you see how that works, how I can get them to play back and forth, I'm going to use this locator tool. So let's go to the dynamic trigger. Right? So on this dynamic trigger, we're going to go into there and I'm going to go to settings. Okay, and on there, we're going to go all the way down to our property box. And we're going to say, what's the target of this trigger? And the target is not to do with this toy or person. I'm going to scroll down and say it's a locator. The target of this trigger is a particular area. It's like a trigger area basically. And the distance from this target, how many is it? And I haven't worked out how far they are, but I tend to use 5 because that means you have to be pretty much quite close to be on it. So I'm going to leave that to 5. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to set a logic connection to that locator. So I'm going to do a logic to that. So I'm going to connect that to that particular part. So basically now when you in that location, what I want you to do, we are connected between those two. Okay, so when you walk into that area, it basically triggers this button. Right, so when I go back to my dynamic trigger and say new logic connection, when I enter the location I've got, so when I've entered that location that I put, and I put player, yeah, any player who enters it, yeah, what that's going to do is that's going to send a signal to my content message to say, right, we'd like to display the following message. So right, this is going to make this activated. Right, and it's for the triggering player. Make sure it's the triggering player because you don't want it to appear for anyone else's screen, so I want it the triggering player that it's appear. So if I go to the settings of this option and go down to properties, you will see here you've got user defined. I'm going to switch that to be on. Yeah, I need that to be on, and I'm going to set the duration to around about 3 or 4 seconds. Now in the prompt, unlike the holocron switch, this button is just like that, but I can choose the prompt. So I can say use magic, cast your spell, or I can even say use the force. So in there I put in a message to say use magic. Yeah, okay? And when that triggers on, it's going to be the player that's going to actually have that item. Yeah, okay, so it's basically a button that appears. So when I walk over to it now, that comes up on the screen, and a square button appears, which the user now has to interact, and he's got those 3 seconds to do it. So if I go back to that tool and do new logic connection and say, right, when I press the button, when I press that, and it's the player and it's the triggering player that presses it, not any other player, I'm going to go back to my replay and then say, right, can you now play back the bridge going across? Okay, so if I take my wand off and see how this goes. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to step on this, and I'm going to use my circle button here to play back, to clear off anything I've done on the screen, so they clear off the screen. So much easier now, I don't have any buttons. So in the object of the game, if my character comes across here in the game, when she walks into the area, the button will appear, and I've got 3 seconds to press that button. Now if I don't press it, doesn't matter if I press the button, nothing will happen. Yeah, I've missed my window, so you've got to set that time right. So if I go away again and come back, the button appears, I press square, and the bridge magically reappears. Okay, so I can then run across and access the castle. Now the only thing is, by having this magical power, it's no good because I've now made this bridge available for everyone else to cross. So what I can do here is, once I've crossed the bridge, I want to use the magic to make it disappear again. So let's bring those previous tools I did before back up. So let's go back to my unfiltered options, and let's go back to my creativity toys. And as I go through here, I click the list. Right, so I'm going to need a locator, because as soon as I cross the bridge I want to switch that off, so I'm going to put the locator there. I am then going to need my, now I don't need my replay tool because that already exists, so all I need now is my dynamic trigger. So there's my dynamic trigger. I'm going to put my dynamic trigger there. And then the other one I'm going to do is goes back the other way, which is the content action assign button, action button assigner. I can never remember these names. So I'm going to put that option on the screen. Now I need to reset those links again. So let's repeat what I did back there, get the one back out. So if I connect to that one, and right, go to properties. I'm not going to link it to this particular pad. I'm actually going to go down and link it to a locator, because in your game you tend to hide these out of the way, and I've noticed a lot of people put all these tools on a level hidden below underneath the map, which is quite a handy thing to do. Oops. Yeah, I'm not over impressed with this, by the way. She keeps chucking me, the monster keeps on beating me through. Right, let me connect to that locator. So we are now connected that trigger to that locator. Now what we can do is do a new logic connection and say, right, when we enter that area by a player and by any, we're going to go to this particular option. Oops, see, it is annoying. I shouldn't really put that one in there, that'll teach me. I should delete it off. So let's cancel that and do that again. That's a bit silly. Right, so let's go back to that again, sorry. So let's go back to, where am I going? It's this option I wanted. It was going there, new logic connection. Yeah, when we walk into the area, it's a new logic connection. Yeah, when we go into the area, which is the locator, yeah, and it's the player, any player that walks into that area, I would like you to switch that section on, right? I want you to activate that button, and that's the player, but it's for the triggering player that it is activated for. And if I go to that option there, I then go to my property section, and I can say, right, make sure duration's on. I want 4 seconds, give it long enough, and use the text. Well, like I say, it could be use the force. In this case, I'm going to use magic, so we'll change that to say use magic. Okay. And then I'll come back out of there. And then what I want to do is I want to do new logic connection. When I press the button and the player presses it and it's the triggering button, I can go back to my replay, which I can still just see on the other side. And I'm going to connect to that one. But this time, instead of saying clear, so in fact I do want it to clear, I want it to actually clear off the screen, so that's the option I want done. So that now clears the bridge. So if I take my wand off, as soon as I cross the bridge, I've made it to the other side. I can use magic again, and now no one can, the enemies can't follow me. What I can do now is I can do another option to do the spell back. But one thing you have to be wary of, because I've got that locator, every time I walk into that area, that thing will ask me to use magic. So I may have to put another routine to switch it off. I'm not going to do it in this example because I just want to show you the basics of how this works. Otherwise the clip becomes too long and you get bored. But what you might want to do is that once you've done the magic, to actually deactivate the switch. So if I bring my three options here again, so this is so I can make the bridge reappear, because now I can't do it. So in this case, connect to the tool. I'm going to say, right, new logic connector, make the location connected to that. Go into here and go down to properties. Can you not make it the tool? Can you make it the location that you're connected to? And can you make the distance 5, so you have to be virtually on top of it to appear, otherwise you don't have to be that near it. Okay, new logic connection once I've actually entered where the locator is. Yeah, player, any. What I'd like you then do is I'd like you to then go now and trigger this button. This is going to activate the switch for the player, and it's for the triggering player. So we now go to the switch, we then go down to the properties of that, we then switch it on, make it about 4 seconds, and then we put the prompt in to say use magic, or whatever you want to say hocus pocus, bibbidi bobbidi boo, whatever you want a magical item to appear. So now I've got that connected. What I'm going to do now, come back out of there, and I'm going to do a new logic connection. When you press the button, so when you actually press the square by the player, and it's the triggering player, yeah, I'm going to fly back over here, and I'm going to connect back to the replayer, and this is the bit I want the bridge to reappear. But to start with, the bridge appeared on the other side, but this time I want it to appear on my side, so I'm going to play it back, but I'm going to play it back in reverse. So what you'll see here is, if I take my wand off, now when I walk over to this particular point, I get my magic prompt. I can use a magic, okay, and it now goes across the way I wanted to go on that screen. See, the prompt still says here use magic, so I can make it disappear on the other side. Yeah, but I might want to do it. Oh, that's an annoying creature again. I should have deleted that off. So I'm going to put that bridge back across. If I now cross back to the other side, I clear it, and you'll now see it go either way. Anyway, it gives you the idea. This way, all your Disney characters can use the Force if you wanted to. You're not restricted just to use the holocrons, so you can do it either way. But just be aware, the purpose of this video was to re-show you this, to re-emphasize this, because Matthew pointed out that the controls appear when you play it on the screen. Hope you find this clip to be good. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.